Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, I want to highlight two ways that you might be able to play the Void Eye when it comes out this Thursday, the 22nd of May. Big shout out to my two opponents in these videos. That's going to be Dai and Drewski. They were kind enough to play with me on the test server and will provide some content for you guys. Now, I immediately have in this first game a Void Eye opener with the sledgehammers. You can also get them paired up with Mustang and Spider. I think the Spider one is potentially the best. There's a bit of an awkward thing going on with Sledgehammers and Void Eyes, where Sledgehammers have 5 more base range, so a lot of clumping can happen, but if you space them well enough, then Sledgehammers will often be closer to the enemies, so it is kind of fixable. Now, opponent here will go Steel Balls and Hounds. He's a Rhino specialist. I'm a Farseer specialist. And this will be a defensive game for me. I'm seeing the Steel Balls and the Hounds and I'm thinking, well, Sledgehammers have great stall potential. And honestly, let's try and see if the Void Eye can work defensively as well. Because it is a pretty low range unit. It has quite a good amount of DPS for its cost. But, I mean, it does suffer in terms of, well, how far it can shoot. But that's fine. You can play it either on aggro or you can play it on defense, and this first game will be the defense. We're going to go for the 2 fangs here, 2 squares on the inside of the tower, vertical sledges to stall the steel balls a bit more, and yeah, that should pull all of the enemy units here towards my army. Going to try and pair up the Void Eyes here behind the sledges, and just try to make sure that there's plenty of stuff in front of them. Let's see how this goes. Double crawler pickup for my opponent. We can have a quick look at my text this round, which was range enhancement, charge shot, aerial mode, and electromagnetic armor. I'm not going to go over all of the text specifically in this video. If you want to see them, then I highly recommend you check out the preview video on the official Mechabellum channel. But yeah, I was kind of playing around with the setup. I think I do want to run range, charge shot, and aerial mode, but yeah, this 4th slot could be either energy shield or it could be the electromagnetic armor. You could potentially play out with like a setup where you go for more tank techs and kind of only play the Void Eye as a disruptive tank. But I don't know, I kind of like having the techs available to really make it that DPS carry that, well, it is at heart, right? Now, round number 2. Let's have a look at the cards. Redeployment is available. It is good for the aggro player, but I mean, for me, I'm not too sure if this is what I want. I'm pretty happy with how that round looked. Don't feel like I really need to redeploy this sledgehammer here. I don't think I'm in a lot of trouble just yet. And the Wasp Swarm here looks kind of tempting because the backside of the board there is rather open, so I might find myself going for that instead. Redeployment would be valid though. I just didn't feel like I was under that much pressure considering I won the first round, and redeploy tends to be better for the player that is making plays rather than the one reacting to it, because obviously reacting to a redeploy you will often find yourself just being around behind anyway, because something might be on the flank and then you react to it and then it ends up somewhere else yet again. We are going to go for the Wasp here on the back right, but my opponent is rather respectful. Goes for a double missile there in the back, even has a fang on the back left. And well, I wasn't respectful at all. I thought he would go redeployment, and so I left the back of my board completely undefended. Kind of greeding a bit here, going for a 3rd sledgehammer pack and a Void Eye there as well. But I wanted to keep kind of the solid defense I had on the left to try and stop my opponent from trying to poke at the left side of my board. We are going to get pulled here though, ever so slightly. The sledgehammer will be helping out with that crawler spawn in, but I don't think it'll be enough. And well, keep in mind the Void Eyes really aren't meant to deal with chaff. I know they kind of look like hounds and they're about just as tanky, but they have 0 meters of splash, so don't expect these to chaff clear for themselves. They really do need a buddy to help them out with that. And, well, we will be losing the second round here, bunch of levels available for my opponent. And round number 3, we get unit reinforcements. Now here, I think the best thing for me to pick is probably Scorpion. Because my opponent has Steel Balls, has Hounds. I expect them to pick Scorpion because it's just good into triple Sledgehammer. It's good into Fire Badger. It's decent into the high-level Tarantula. The only thing it's bad into really is Saber, but Sabertooth doesn't perform too well into Steel Balls typically, so it'd be weird for me to go for that. I could have done it, though, I guess, because I do have the Sledgehammers, which are good into the Steel Balls, but what I do instead is pick the Fire Badger. Let me say this, I don't think this is the correct move. I just wanted to try out Fire Badgers with Void Eyes. Because my Sledgehammers just aren't going to cut it in terms of chaff gear in the long run, and Fire Badgers could be. The only downside is I am up against Scorpion here, which is, well, not just good into Sledgehammer, but now also very good into Fire Badger, and even has enough attack there to one-shot the level 3 pack, which kind of hurts. At the same time, this does allow me to deal with the flank and kind of, yeah, make sure that my chaff clear for now is set. I am going to go for aerial mode immediately here, which is going to make my Void Eyes air units that can now also target air and ground, because they can't shoot air when they are base units. It will reduce their range by 10, so now they're sitting at 80, but it will also give them 3 more speed. And with this type of carry setup, you will find that they are rather similar to Phoenix. Kind of like a mass-produced Phoenix, if you will. I mean, you can run the energy shield, which Phoenix has. It has range. It has charge shot, like Phoenix has. Just coming in at, well, 100, and it needs a few more techs to become flying. Doesn't quite scale as well either, but, I mean, the DPS on these guys is rather good, and you can see here that because my opponent doesn't have much anti-air, only a couple fangs, we actually do manage to farm up that Scorpion, which means that our Void Eyes will be leveling. So not too bad of a round. Question is now, do we want to keep investing into Fire Badger, knowing that our opponents did end up going Scorpion? Round number 4, efficient tech research. Could be a pickup if I don't want anything, but I already took 1 tech, so typically I prefer picking this when I haven't teched anything. Haste mod, always a decent item. Probably could just pick that up. I have my Farseer available this turn, and that unit does like items, so that's what we're going to go for. Going to put that on the left side. The tower here is leveled, but I know my opponent has access to the Rhino, and if he runs it in, I want to be able to defend my tower. Haste module pickup there for die as well. We'll put that onto his Rhino. And, well, with range on the Hounds already, his chaff clear is certainly not much worse than mine. But hey, look at this. All of my Void Eyes now managing to level. I kind of need to prioritize range as fast as I can. And this is just a general, like, advice. You will have to range your Void Eyes before your chaff gear units if you want to try out playing this. Because if not, then any chaff gear unit, even Fire Badger, which has only 60 base range, if you range it, goes up to 100. And yeah, your Void Eyes are going to be running in front, and that's just a disaster. So it is a pretty tech-hungry unit from the looks of it. And I think running range is going to be mandatory if you want to try and make this your main DPS unit. I just happened to go aerial first here because I knew my opponent didn't really have too many anti-air units, so I felt like I could get a cheese, which I did, and then I managed to farm the high-level units for some levels. But yeah, you will see me not clicking Fire Badger range here because I want these guys to stay alive if possible. We add more chaff, which is hopefully going to distract the Scorpion for a little bit longer. And we're also kind of pushing into the left side here, trying to get to that tower. Opponent here ranged his fangs, which is not the worst idea, because Void Eyes, again, are really bad into chaff, and they don't have the most hit points, so fangs could work. I think Mustang might be really good, but mostly if your opponent decides to go for aerial Void Eye, Because the weird thing about this unit is that when it's on the ground, obviously Mustangs don't get any benefit from their techs in terms of bonus damage. But if it is an air unit, then you can suddenly run something like aerial specialization and, well, not only get the bonus damage, but also the bonus targeting range, which is quite significant considering this unit can only get up to 120 range when it's got the aerial mode, right? So I could definitely see that be a thing. Speaking of which, we do have the Mustangs here in the pack. I did think my opponent would go for that, and that's why I go for Wraith. But instead, my opponent picks the Marksman here, which I was a bit sad about to discover. But the saving grace is that he's not running aerial on his Marksman. And this kind of kicks off the comp that I want to showcase you guys in the first game, which is Wraith plus Void Eye. I think this can be a legit combination, whether you are in a headbutt, kind of on the line, or defending like this. It seems to be a really good pairing, because you need something that chaff clears, so that's what Wraith provides, and you kind of need something that also isn't a mid-sized unit pack, right? Because if you play Fire Badger, it also comes in a pack of 3, and now suddenly you're looking at, well, Scorpions, or even worse, something like Raiden, right? Which is going to just gobble up the Void Eyes and your Badgers with pleasure. So instead, I think you want to try and find something a bit more beefy, like a Wraith, like a Tarantula, to tank and make your opponent have to invest into different units, right, to counter your chaff and your DPS. Or chaff clear and DPS, rather. We're going to go for Degen Beam first here, which actually does a pretty good job. We're managing to avoid one of the Marksmen, which finds itself onto the left side of the board. And, well, while this guy has locked on and will kill my Wraith, I think we've done an okay job of debuffing the enemy team, getting close, getting rid of the big important units. We might not win, because my chaff clear is dead. And my opponent still has some fangs left. Although I say that, Rapid Farseer here, 21 meters a second. Going to get the Tower debuff. Maybe, just maybe, it is going to be enough. No, I don't think so, right? There's still too many fangs left. This Marksman will get the debuff. Should be able to clean things up. But that's a really minor loss. Only 100 damage or so taken. And quite a fine result. We get more levels on the Void Eyes. Absolutely lovely. Orbital Javelin shows up. Seems like a pretty easy pick for me. Cheap spell, and I mean, look at how many units there are over here. Opponent will go for the Absorption module, which with the level on the Scorpion does bring it past 70,000. So Scorpion actually will survive here, but just taking out the Marksman alone, I think is already worth it. And that will allow me to go into the range on the Wraith as well. I only did this because I noticed that there was no anti-air. I mean, even then, maybe I would have clicked it regardless. If I just have some good chaff, some tanks in front, then I should be able to keep the Wraith alive for long enough. And either way, I'm in a bit of a pickle, because the other option would be to range my Fire Badgers, but into these ranged Scorpions, I felt like going Wraith was a better option. Wasp is back off cooldown. Left side, we have a Farseer, so I wasn't too afraid of that. Middle, we put a Missile, and we also have a Wasp covering here, the right side, which is where the Wasp will show up. More Scorpions being picked up from my opponent. I pick up another Wraith as well. We're now kind of going symmetrical on the board, trying to expand on the left, because I was feeling relatively confident about the right side of the board. And let's see. I will probably miss the Rhino here. Could have probably put that jab further up front, but this guy is quite fast at 21 meters a second, so might not have been able... Yeah, no, never mind. I would have never hit this and the Marksman, I think. Still, decent damage on the Scorp will allow the Void Eyes to kill it much faster on this round. And yeah, left side here, we can see we're doing quite well. No chaff clear, really, so the Wraith is safe. And the Farseer will be able to get in. And you can see now, yeah, with that Marksman gone, the Degen Beam is doing absolutely fantastic. And we're even kind of pushing into him with a lot of our Void Eyes still alive, picking up levels And getting to the point where, I mean, they're really dishing out a lot of damage once they get to, like, level 3. Round number 7. Additional deployment slot shows up. I'm pretty healthy, so that just seems like a safe card to pick to kind of scale. I could use some more chaff right now. I have a good amount, but I think more crawlers could never hurt. Probably don't want to go loose formation. If he had just hounds, that is what I would do, but with the ranged fangs, maybe not what I want. Underground could be an idea though in the long run. Opponents will go for the underground threat instead, trying to regain some tempo, but I have a missile there, so that'll at least take out some of it, and I don't think this will be too impactful. And we're gonna have Mech Rage now on the Hound, so opponent thinks, or well, realizes that the chaff maybe is getting out of control, and well, it won't get easier this round, as we're simply going to be picking up at least 3 more chaff packs. Temp range clicked as well, 4th chaff pack picked up. And yeah, we're now really kind of building our backline of small units. Setting up for a potential underground or a subterranean blitz turn. Although, I say that. I hadn't even looked at my techs on this test server, but you will see that some of them aren't quite what they're used to on the live servers. So I'm running Acid here, which I never run on the live server, so I didn't even have subterranean, but hadn't noticed that. On the Wraith as well, I'm not running armor, I'm running field maintenance, and I'm running degen beam, which here actually I'm quite happy with. But yeah, don't pay too much attention to the techs I'm running, maybe apart from the techs on the Void Eye. Marksman, going to have the elite marksman, which will do really good damage to the leveled Wraith at this point. And now it's pretty much just, I mean, the Farseer is still doing great. 3rd on damage on the left side. We can just kind of leave that guy alone to carry. Late Fire Badger actually does arrive in time. Still alive. Didn't have to face the Scorpion that had already gone down. And yeah, Void Eye is just kind of running away with it. Sending my opponent down to 570 hit points now. Round number 8. Incendiary Bomb, Smoke Bomb here. Both worth a try to pick up. I don't think I'm gonna do it because, well, we're on the test server and I didn't want to, like, be too mean. But, I felt really comfortable, right? So, like, whenever I feel very comfortable, I have this habit of just playing for the board state and kind of expecting my opponent to waste money on things like shields. There was also, like, not even that much chaff that would run through the fire if I put it on my own side of the field. Like, there's only 2 or 3 crawlers, so honestly, like, the valley wouldn't have been great. And yeah, you can see that my opponent here is going to shield. Double shot comes out on the marksman, so he feels like he needs to kill my Wraith even faster. And well, we're just picking up more level 2 Void Eyes here. 1, 2, 3... 4 Void Eyes elite recruited on this round. We also do have the 2nd attack enhancement. We're going to sell one of our Badgers, I believe. And with the loan, we're even going to be able to pick up Floating Artillery Array as a 3rd tech on the Wraith, allowing us to chaff clear even better, dish out more damage during the degen, and just kind of clear the path for our Void Eyes. Only 1 shield coming out, so fire here or smoke would have been a fantastic pickup. And we do shield our own side to try and prevent at least some of this fire from landing. Looks like it'll still do a good job though. We'll kill a couple of crawler packs there on the right side. Left side still looking quite strong. Farseer here just, well, carrying away. And right side a bit more even. But we still have quite a few Void Eyes left. And yeah, marksmen, I mean, they can shoot them, but with 3 in a pack and them being so cheap, you end up having quite a big air army. And much like the Wasp, it takes the marksman a long time to deal with everything. And that will actually be enough. So round 8, we close it out, and that is going to be the first game. So defensively, I think this type of setup makes a lot of sense. Trying to go something like Sledgehammers for stall with chaff, and then your core of the Wraith for chaff clear, and the Void Eyes sitting behind. I think this can be quite potent. This also works decently well if both of you are on the line. So in a headbutt scenario, obviously Wraith always was good in these type of games, but Void Eyes DPS really does pop off if you manage to get some levels. And yeah, it seems to be a pretty decent pairing. So I would recommend you try this out defensively or in a headbutt if you want to. Let's head over to game number 2, which is going to be an aggressive game. All right, here we are. Game number 2, which will be against Drewski, fellow streamer. Do check him out. Very nice guy. And we have Missile Spec this time around with the Tarantula and Void Eye opener. So this, I think, will be quite a good opener if you like to play offensive, because, well, there's an obvious kind of synergy between these two, where the Tarantula, again, is a big unit, so has typically got different counters than the Void Eye, is a chaff clear unit, which is what you need, and it has 10 more range than the Void Eyes. So this allows the Void Eyes to kind of sit behind. They still tend to sometimes get in front, so against Stormcallers, it's not great. You get splashed and your Void Eyes do die, but I think there is some synergy here that is worth exploring, and that's what we're going to be doing this game. I pick up 2 Crawlers on round 1. Could have gone for another Tarantula as well, because I kind of have this Void Eye floating by itself right now. Still needs a Spider Buddy, but it'll have to wait. But I didn't really want to not go chaff when my opponent had a bunch of Marksmen. I am up against Quick Supply here, by the way. Spider Marksman start, which is the alternative, I guess, to this opener, where you have Spider plus DPS. But keep in mind, Void Eyes are equal to about 1.5 Marksmen, if you're just looking at them with the base damage. So really, I have about 4.5 Marksmen on the board right now. I'm also pushing in asymmetrically, so I have an advantage on the left side. And opponent is going to use some of his quick supply money, but a lot of it will be on the right side of the board, in which maybe we'll be able to avoid. Let's see. Opponent will be pushing into my tower. These Void Eyes will have an absolute horrible time. I'm sorry. But, you know, eventually they'll get their tank, and they'll get a chance to be useful as well. The push here isn't too fast. Marksman, Spider, Fang, all very slow. So we get to the tower first, managing to pressure the left side. And now we're going to be walking over to the right side, trying to take out this first Marksman. Maybe get another tower debuff. Doesn't quite look so. Oh, a couple Crawlers heading over there, but we might not need them. A debuff not doing too much to my army. And I still have a lot of Void Eyes here, kind of in between my Spiders to help out. And we will be taking home the first round. Happy with that. We are a missile spec, so we've got missiles available here. And round number 2, immediately we're looking at unit reinforcements as well. Now, here I've got a few options. I could go Fire Badger, which I could add onto the right side as a kind of a placeholder for Tarantulas. But I didn't want to go for aerial mode immediately here, since it doesn't achieve much, except deal with potential air threats. But I could just pick the Phoenix for that as well for now, and kind of wait. Because ideally here I would go range first, before I go aerial mode. And you might ask, like, oh, but why do you want to go aerial mode? But, like, the fact that this unit doesn't shoot ground, or doesn't shoot air units when it's on the ground, is a big kind of downside in the long term, right? Prevents you from really investing a lot into them, and kind of requires you to invest into other anti-air units, which at times can be carries themselves, like Phoenix. So at that point, it's like, why are you even playing Void Eye? So I feel like having aerial mode and eventually clicking it is often going to be mandatory just to deal with potential air threats. And on top of that, I mean, the temp speed is quite nice. Or the temp speed. Yeah, like the bonus speed is a nice thing to have when you're playing aggressive. So we're just going to go for one missile here. And, well, the spacing there was slightly too close to one another. And I do manage to take out 2 of the marksmen. We add a spider on the right side, a crawler as well. Looks like we will be pushing in. Not the fastest army, so I think the tower debuff won't come in at a meaningful time. Phoenixes here will lock on, will get rid of stuff, but it looks like my army has died. That sledgehammer that got added alongside the spider, just awfully tanky. And, well, while we're getting close, spider will take out 1 marksman, but will the other be able to recover? It looks like it will. With only a crawler and 2 void eyes left, it will clutch up. So I'll be losing the second round. Yeah, very, very tanky army there on the left, and even some void eyes being added from my opponent. Round number 3, improved Overlord, improved Wraith. Could be worth a consideration, but it's a 4 marksman, maybe not. Opponent here was running aerial specialization, and if I tech into the spiders, they should be plenty in terms of chaff clear. So instead, we're just going to go for the 3rd missile strike, which this time around I am going to opt to use both because I want them to go on cooldown and not create like this infinite chain of missiles where I only get 1 every round. Looks like my opponent goes for it as well. I was kind of expecting this. I mean, there's a good target to hit. Can hit some Void Eyes, can hit the Phoenixes. And so we might need some anti-air. Opponent here goes for range on the Void Eyes first, while picking up some more. Although, that spacing... Okay, we'll actually put 1 in the middle. I was about to say, I might get a nice gift there, hitting a second Void Eye pack. And we're gonna have attack enhancement 1 and defense enhancement 1. Right side, another Void Eye pack here being added alongside a Tarantula. And the marksmen are going to go down again, so we should be favored once more. But I don't have the range advantage. The only thing I've got going for me is perhaps a few more tanks, some pressure on the right side, and that 1 level on my Void Eye in the middle. And seems like that will be enough. So despite our opponent here getting ahead on the techs, we still have enough pressure, and we do manage to take home a pretty sizable round. Additional deployment slot here shows up early. I will decide to go for it. If the game goes long, it's just really nice. And especially if you want to invest into smaller units like Void Eye and Crawlers. And I mean, even 200 cost units like Tarantula. This is such a nice card to have. Opponent, though, considering some options. And we'll go for the advanced targeting system here. Very expensive, but in the long run, might make a difference in this mirror that we've got going on, right? Spiders and Void Eyes on both sides. I think it's a little too expensive, though. Very risky to pick. 450 is a lot of resources this early on. And, well, opponent is down to 3k hit points, which could go away quickly if the tempo doesn't favor him. So here we're going to go range as well. We pick up 2 more levels on our Void Eyes. And we're going to flesh out the board a little bit more with the Crawlers. I am taking some risks here by kind of picking up more chaff, but not really covering the flanks too much. Eventually, I do want to go aerial mode, and that'll be able to deal with air cheeses as well, but I'm kind of just flipping a coin here saying, if my opponent flanks me, then so be it, and I'll be forced to do something about it. But if not, then I'm getting great tempo, and I can just fully invest in winning the main fight. And sometimes that's just what you have to do when you're playing offensive. And it seems to be working for us. We've got the Tarantula level, the Void Eye levels, and, well, that is boding very well for us. More levels picked up, level 3 even available there. And round number 5, we get Wraith offered. And Drewski goes for it. Now, here I'm thinking, I could go Wraith, but there's no real point doing so into Marksman. My chaff gear should be good enough if I invest into the Spiders. So really, I probably just take and sell. Mind you, there were more valuable drops available, but I would have to sell them across multiple turns, so I'm willing to kind of take a little bit less in terms of profit and get it all this turn. And this is when I click aerial mode, because I was expecting my opponent to pick up air units there. 3 of the units offered were air units, so I need to respect it now. And we finally get our second tech. Now, I will say, there is a bit of a problem, potentially, with this comp when you click aerial mode, because now the tarantulas, if you give them range, have the same range as the void eyes that are flying. And this means that things like aerial specialization on Mustang might have a really easy time to lock onto them, or you might get them kind of sniped accidentally because of some weird like walking forward mechanics where units sometimes like get in front of one another because of what they're targeting. Now I am going to defend my flanks here. You can see the added void eyes on the sides. Those are kind of within that square here in the back that allows you to turn if something were to show up on the flank. And yeah, Wraith from the opponent. Luckily, we were playing around it, or at least the potential air, and we're not getting caught off guard. All of my units died here though, all the spiders going down. They don't have techs. My opponent's tarantulas do, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. He got rid of most of the chaff. Opponent's units are mostly kind of tanks. Not too many small units just yet. And we still managed to get out ahead on that one. Round number 6, nano repair kit picked up for Drewski. We'll throw it onto the big Wraith. Really good item. For us, I could see advanced defensive tactics, but I was thinking about picking up charge shot down the line. Although I say that, I wasn't running it, so never mind. I was running energy absorption here for some reason, but I don't recommend you run this tech. I think it's really bad. But yeah, that's not going to be the case. So advanced defensive could have been an option, but I wasn't really struggling to kill things too much, so I don't go for it. And instead we're going to invest in energy shield here. And this is where the opponent goes for Raiden. And yeah, Raiden could potentially be scary. Shoots 3 beams. Void Eyes come in a pack of 3. I can see this being a bit of a Raiden buff with the addition of this new unit. Loans are coming out. Missiles are available. Just going to try and hit some chaff. Try and hit some of his Void Eyes. And let's see. More crawlers now being picked up. I was thinking about picking up the loose formation, because as long as my opponent doesn't have high explosive, then that's a really valuable tech. Even if he does, then loose formation still has some value, but certainly less than if the tarantulas are only given the range. And I mean, look at the damage coming out from these Void Eyes. Just absolutely blasting the enemy Raidens. And I mean, we're getting to tower real quick here. Just crushing the round. And it's not quite going to be enough. I mean, that is the downside of playing small units. You don't deal too much player damage, but you only need one more good round and woof. Okay, Lightning Storm there shows up. Opponent goes for the laser sight though, kind enough not to storm me. And yeah, I mean, again, this was a test server, so we're trying to be at least a little bit nice to one another. And showcase as much of the Void Eye as possible. HE does come out, though, on the tarantulas on this turn. I think I will be clicking loose formation either way, but it's a pretty nice move from my opponent. Will certainly help. And yes, look at that. Triple crawler. All the levels picked up. The tarantulas do have range, do have all the levels. Lucky for me, all these Raidens aren't the highest level, only level 1, so the tarantula actually can tank quite a bit. Gonna have some barriers coming down. Opponents, I guess, also trying to shield against the storm, but I didn't go for it either. Again, wanted to invest into my board, and I felt like I was in a good spot with the additional deployment slot. I wasn't gonna die in one turn to the spell, so I was fine kind of scaling. Although I will say, these units don't scale too much. Like, 120 range, 135 with the range bonus really isn't that much. And I think Void Eyes will eventually fall off and need another carry to be added to the board if it goes really long. Right side is winning, but you can see here already those Raidens, despite being out-leveled and despite the Void Eyes having energy shield, guys are doing a great job of taking out the Void Eyes, and I am gonna win, but will it be enough? Ooh, another pack dies. And this is going to be just enough, minus 28. I mean, that was looking a little scary, though. No storm involved. Opponent, I think, definitely could have won the round there and prolonged the game if he went for the storm himself. But that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is to kind of show you what you might want to try and play with the Void Eye when it comes out. And so the other thing is going to be Tarantula Void Eye. Now, again, there is a bit of an awkwardness with aerial mode because now your range is the same, and I could foresee some problems there with AA Mustang, which would get the benefit if this was flying. So yeah, that's something that we'll have to test as this goes on the live servers, but I think it's worth a shot. And then the other thing is going to be something like Wraith paired with this, which you can also try to play aggressively, but I think that could be a nice pairing. Anyway, if you like this video, leave a thumbs up and let me know down below what you think of the Void Eye. Are you excited for it, or do you think that it's going to be a flop when it just comes out? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date with latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. And with that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.